Hello and welcome to Ukraine Today's Press Review. I'm Rahim Rahmatullah. In today's program, we'll focus on one report, which is a Fox News special. It leads with the headline, UN paid Russian air charters hundreds of millions while Putin invaded Ukraine. The writer George Russell says that in the 14 months since Russian President Vladimir Putin annexed Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula and sent proxy fighters to invade eastern Ukraine, Russian companies have won more than $212 million in United Nations contracts to ferry troops, supplies and equipment on peacekeeping missions. What's more, he says that America has been one of the key sources of this money. He writes, "The US pays 28.4% of all UN peacekeeping expenses, so the Obama administration's contribution to the Russian bottom line amounts to more than $60 million. Russell goes on to detail the UN procurement system, which he says favors a few firms and has kept US companies out in the cold. He says both UN officials and US diplomats now claim that the story is changing, albeit at a glacial pace that has allowed Russian firms to cash in handsomely, even as Putin has orchestrated his thinly disguised Ukrainian adventure. Russell says that one firm in particular, UT Air, has profited handsomely from UN peacekeeping contracts, winning a $43 million tender in March last year as Russia's annexation of Crimea was formalized. He says UT Air continued to rake in loads of peacekeeping money even after Putin moved on Crimea. In all, according to UN records, the firm and its subsidiaries have won nearly $150 million worth of contracts since that time. So what can be done? Russell has comments from US United Nations official Isabel Coleman, who says member states are aware of the contradiction between money flowing to Russian firms on the one hand and international sanctions on Russia over aggression toward Ukraine on the other. But change will come slowly, and as Russell says, US Ambassador Coleman, for one, anticipates that there will be pushback from unnamed member states that stand to lose in the new arrangement. So an interesting look there from Fox News, which sheds light on how, behind the scenes, the West's mission to isolate Russia over its aggression in Ukraine is proving much more difficult than might have been expected. It would seem then that if Europe and the US are really to make the Kremlin feel the consequences of its actions, there is still some way to go. That's all we have time for today. Join us again tomorrow for another press review. In Kiev, this is Ukraine Today.